The entire charity gala room moved away from her. Not loudly. Not obviously. But enough that you could feel it. Judge Phyllis Sampson stood near the center of the hall, holding a glass of untouched wine, completely still. Conversations lowered when she passed. Smiles disappeared. Even laughter became careful. It wasn't respect. It was avoidance. Like everyone had silently agreed, don't go near her. Across the room, Trent Phillips noticed it immediately. He wasn't invited because he belonged there. He was there because someone needed help carrying supplies at the entrance. That's all. But what he saw didn't feel right. A child shouldn't learn that kind of silence. His son, Bill Phillips, tugged his sleeve. "Daddy, why is nobody talking to her?" Trent didn't answer at first. Because he didn't know. Then something strange happened. Judge Phyllis Sampson looked up. And for a brief second, her eyes landed directly on him. Not the crowd. Not the gala host. Him. And she froze. Like she recognized something she wasn't ready to remember. Trent Phillips was used to being invisible. Not in a poetic way. In a real, everyday way. The kind where people speak over you, not to you. The kind where your presence doesn't change your room at all. He worked double shifts whenever he could get them. Delivery jobs. Manual labor. Anything that paid fast and didn't ask questions. Because questions were dangerous. Questions reminded him of what he was trying to survive. His son, Bill Phillips, was the only reason he kept going. Bill didn't care about money. Or status. Or how many times Trent got turned away from better opportunities. Bill cared about small things. Like drawing on napkins. Or asking why the sky looked different in the evening. That night, Trent only came to the charity gala building because a contractor needed last-minute help moving equipment inside. He didn't belong inside. He knew that. But Bill insisted on coming along. "Just to see," he said. So they walked in together. And immediately the difference between worlds became visible. Crystal chandeliers. Soft classical music. People wearing conversations like jewelry. And then Judge Phyllis Sampson. Standing alone. Not because she was ignored accidentally. But because she was deliberately left out of everything. Bill noticed it first. "She looks lonely," he said. Trent didn't respond. Because loneliness in a room full of people meant something was wrong. Very wrong. Bill suddenly asked. "Daddy, what did she do wrong?" Trent looked at the judge again. And realized something worse. Nobody looked at her like she had done something wrong. They looked at her like she knew something they didn't want remembered. The gala organizer, Alfred Engel, stood near the stage like a man holding the entire room together with pride alone. Everything was controlled. Every guest assigned importance. Every smile measured. Trent and Bill were clearly not part of the plan. A security attendant approached. "You shouldn't be here," the man said politely but firmly. Trent nodded. "I'm just helping with deliveries. We'll leave when we're done." But Bill had already stepped away. He was walking toward Judge Phyllis Sampson. Trent reacted instantly. "Bill, wait." Too late. The entire room seemed to notice the movement at once. Alfred Engel turned sharply. Security stiffened. But Judge Phyllis Sampson raised her hand slightly. They stopped. That alone made Trent uneasy. Because nothing at this gala stopped for anyone. Bill stopped in front of her. He looked up. And smiled. "Hi!" Silence. The judge looked down at him. Her expression didn't change. But something behind her eyes did. Bill held out a folded napkin drawing. "I made this while waiting." Trent froze. He hadn't even seen the drawing before now. Bill always drew things without explanation. The judge stared at the napkin. Longer than appropriate. Longer than comfortable. Then she spoke. "What is your name?" Bill answered proudly. "Bill Phillips." At that moment, the glass in her hand almost slipped. Alfred Engel stepped forward. "Ma'am, I can remove them." But she didn't look away. Instead, she said something no one expected. No. Just that. One word. And the entire room changed. Because she had just chosen them. Bill pointed at the drawing. It's you, he said simply. Judge Phyllis Sampson stared at it. And whispered, That's impossible. Whispers spread quickly. A single dad and a child standing in front of a judge who terrified half the legal system. Alfred Ingle moved closer. This is inappropriate interaction, he said sharply. Trent felt every eye in the room turn toward him. He lowered his head slightly. Old habit. But Judge Phyllis Sampson did not move. Instead, she asked Bill, Why did you draw me? Bill shrugged. Because I saw you before. That line hit harder than anyone expected. Trent felt it too. Because children didn't lie like that. They didn't build stories for attention. They simply repeated what felt real. Judge Phyllis Sampson took a slow breath. Then, for the first time, she looked directly at Trent. Not the child. Him. And her expression changed. Not recognition of his face. Recognition of something behind him. Something buried in time. Alfred Ingle tried again. Ma'am, I must insist we remove them. She interrupted. Everyone leave us. The room went still. That includes you, Alfred. Shock. Absolute shock. Even Alfred Ingle hesitated. Then slowly stepped back. For the first time, the judge had taken control of the room without raising her voice. She looked at the drawing again. And her hands began to tremble slightly. Trent noticed. Bill noticed. Everyone noticed. Something was breaking. Quietly. Judge Phyllis Sampson sat down slowly. Not because she was tired. Because she needed to. I remember a case, she said quietly. Trent stiffened. Bill didn't understand. The judge continued. A child was involved. Silence thickened. And a father. Trent felt his chest tighten. Her eyes lifted again. And a man who wasn't supposed to be in the building where everything went wrong. Trent's memory flickered. Not clear. Not complete. But present. Judge Phyllis Sampson looked at Bill's drawing. This drawing was in the case file. Alfred Ingle frowned. That's not possible. But she ignored him. Because now she was speaking like someone remembering something they had buried. Someone saved a life that night. Her eyes locked on Trent. And no one ever believed who it was. Trent's voice came out barely audible. I don't remember that night clearly. The judge nodded slowly. That's because you weren't supposed to survive it. Alfred Ingle finally stepped forward again. This is becoming disruptive. Judge Phyllis Sampson stood. And said, If he leaves this room, I leave with him. The gala no longer mattered. The room no longer mattered. Only truth did. Judge Phyllis Sampson asked Trent to sit. He did. Bill sat beside him. The judge placed the napkin drawing on the table. This wasn't just a drawing, she said. It was a memory marker. Trent frowned. I don't understand. She exhaled. That night, there was a collapse in the courthouse annex. Trent's mind flickered again. Fragments. Heat. Noise. Confusion. A child was trapped. She continued. Bill looked up. Me? The judge hesitated. No. Then added softly. Another child. Trent swallowed hard. I was there? She nodded. And you went in when everyone else stayed out. Silence. Alfred Ingle had nothing to say now. Because the story had shifted beyond him. Judge Phyllis Sampson continued. The official record says the rescue team arrived first. She looked at Trent. But I was there too. Her voice cracked slightly. And I saw what really happened. Trent shook his head slowly. I don't remember saving anyone. She responded quietly. People who do what you did that night rarely remember it the same way others do. Bill looked between them. Daddy, you saved someone? Trent couldn't answer. Because something inside him was breaking open. Something long buried. Judge Phyllis Sampson picked up the drawing again. And whispered. He drew what I saw, Before I even told anyone it happened. The truth finally aligned. Not cleanly. Not perfectly. But enough. Trent had entered the collapsed building years ago during a chaos incident. He didn't go in as a hero. He went in because he heard a child crying. That was it. Just instinct. Just reaction. He found the child. Pulled them out. And disappeared before anyone could identify him properly. Judge Phyllis Sampson had been present that night as a young judge overseeing the emergency response. She remembered everything. Except the identity of the man who entered first. Bill's drawing matched what she saw that night. Not imagination. Memory. Transferred. Incomplete but real. She looked at Trent again. And this time, her voice softened completely. You were never meant to be forgotten. Trent looked down. I never needed recognition. Judge Phyllis Sampson nodded. That's what makes it worse. Silence settled. Not heavy. Just real. Bill smiled slightly. So my dad is important? Judge Phyllis Sampson smiled faintly for the first time. Yes. The Gala felt different now. Smaller. Quieter. Human. People no longer avoided the judge. But they also no longer understood her. Because something had changed. Trent stood up slowly. It's okay, he said. We can go. But Judge Phyllis Sampson shook her head. No. She looked at Bill. Stay. Then at Trent. You didn't come here by accident. Bill smiled. Good thing I came too then. Trent chuckled softly. For the first time that night. The judge handed the drawing back. Keep it, she said. Bill shook his head. No. It belongs to you too. Judge Phyllis Sampson hesitated. Then accepted it. Quietly. Carefully. Like something sacred. Trent looked around the room one last time. The silence was no longer judgmental. It was reflective. He turned to Bill. Ready to go? Bill nodded. But before they left, Judge Phyllis Sampson spoke again. If you were in that room, she asked softly, would you have gone in like he did? Trent didn't answer. Because some answers don't need words. They just need memory. If stories like this remind you that quiet people often carry the heaviest impact, subscribe to the Redeemed Single Dad. And tell us in the comments, should Trent be remembered as a hero, even if he never called himself one? Or is true heroism exactly that, doing it without needing credit? Until next time. Some of the most important moments in life are the ones nobody sees.